Hi, everybody. It's a public holiday here in good old South Africa, Women's Day or something like that. Except for the religious holidays, I never know what the public holidays are for, unless or until I ask one of the children and they tell me. I'm not a big supporter of things like Women's Day. I believe we should celebrate all people and not just a certain gender. I do not believe in toxic masculinity either. Toxicity appears in all kinds of forms in men as well as in women. Some of the most toxic behavior I have personally ever observed in my lifetime were actually from women. I think women just hide it better than men. They also tend to get away with more due to their beauty or their charm, etc. I also believe that if you want equal rights, then all things should be equal, and we should not have a special day to celebrate women. We already have Mother's Day and Father's Day, so let's stick with that. So on this Women's Day in South Africa, I'm just doing my usual stuff. Anyway, folks, I had a very strange experience earlier today. So let me tell you about that because it will indeed lead you into what I want to talk about today. I usually get up at 6 o'clock every morning, weekdays, because I have to take Dragonman to school at 7. So over weekends and public holidays, I tend to wake up at 6 o'clock anyway. The only difference being that I would lie in bed going through Instagram or watching TikTok videos, etc., and then I'd get up at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. This morning it was exactly the same thing. My neighbor was also saying goodbye to a visitor, obviously at the top of his lungs, and there was a truck in a side street. Strangely, after it all died down and it was quiet again, I fell asleep again and woke up at 10:30. Now, I went to sleep at about 10:30 last night, which is really early for me. I got up at about, I would say, 4 a.m. for a trip to the bathroom, went straight back to sleep, woke up at 6 and went back to sleep at about 6:30. I did go on my cell phone, Instagram, but God, I was on there for about 10 minutes and I couldn't keep my eyes open. So I thus slept for, say, approximately 11 hours. How or why, I still cannot figure out. But during my third sleeping session this morning, I had the weirdest dream, a very real and vivid one. I dreamt that Princess Diana was still alive. I was so perplexed throughout my dream because in my dream, Diana was like in a witness protection program kind of thing, hidden away with minders watching over her and taking care of her. But at the time of my dream, we were in a sort of mid-size village with a lot of water. I don't know whether there was a flood or whether it just is what the place is like. Sometimes you could walk from one place to another, and sometimes you had to hop on these little ski boats to get to the other side. Anyway, in my dream, I was approached to help this woman who turned out to actually be Diana find a great outfit because for the first time in nearly 30 years, she was going to attend, although incognito, a formal event. It was stressed to me how important the event was for her, the most important event of her entire life. In my dream, We went from one boutique kind of store to another. In one, she would find a piece of jewelry. In another, she would find a shawl. In another, she would find a dress, then shoes, and so on and so on. Sometimes we would be joined by a young woman. I have no idea who she was. Maybe a staff member. I'm not sure. There was no indication as to her identity. And sometimes we were joined by a man who was clearly a very, very close friend. My dream was so vivid that I would recognize the man if I met him in the street. He was rather tall, lanky, with a full head of grey hair, okay? A better looking, slightly taller Richard Branson is likely the best description I can come up with. What impressed me most, and at the time perplexed me most, was how nice, how down to earth and friendly both Diana and this man were to me. They treated me like an old friend. Yet I could not understand, and they would not explain, why they chose me to help her, me to reveal her to. Why did they trust me? They did not know me, or had they been watching me? I don't know. My dream did not reveal that to me. Regardless of Diana's excitement, her joy in trying nice things on, her friendliness, I sensed a measure of fear and stress. At one point, I even asked her whether she missed all the glamour, the nice clothes, the balls, and she laughed and said, no. I asked her why was she going to this particular one, risking being recognized, and she said that it was important for her to go to this event. She did not elaborate or couldn't, because as we stepped out of the shop, Charles and another man, likely a bodyguard, passed us in a small ski boat, and we were still watching them turn a corner, narrowly missing a rock, when the young girl approached us from the opposite direction and said that if she was to attend the event that evening, she had better find something to wear. Diana talked to her for a while until a slightly larger, bigger ski boat pulled up, and the driver and the grey-haired man helped Diana with her parcels and helped her into the boat. She smiled and thanked me for my help and company and told me she was going to rest for a while before getting ready for the night's event. Then they took off and left me standing there. I left in the opposite direction until I reached a portion of the town where I could walk about freely and did not need a ski boat to cross anywhere. My last thought before I woke up was how beautiful the place was. Now look, I am no conspiracy theorist, artistic but way too practical also to truly believe Diana and Elvis are still alive, at least not here on Earth. But this dream left me perplexed and with an uneasy feeling, a feeling that I'm missing something, that this dream was my subconscious trying to give me a message or wanting to draw my attention to something, and I cannot figure out what. Then, because it was already late and I could not turn back the clock, I decided to stay in my cozy warm bed a little longer. The first thing I, however, saw on Instagram while being tucked in was this. Okay, so hear me out and please try to follow my messed up, warped thoughts, or please feel free to ask questions if you can't, because I certainly won't blame you. I'm struggling through it myself. So, I asked the question just a few videos ago. I asked whether Meghan was going to postpone the hard launch of her American Riviera orchard from September to next year. And here it is. There were again problems with the trademark application. Now again, my first reaction was a real Oprah moment. What? Honestly, how many trademark applications have they made to date? Many, 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 many. I stopped counting at some point, but with each one of them, there were actually issues. A signature missing, a date left out, incorrect or vague descriptions, etc., etc. I mean, really, are they stupid or what? Anyway, that is not what got to me. We all know that they, Harry and Meghan, are not as clever as they pretend to be. I mean, that is nothing new. But then I read the rest of the article, and that is when it hit me. So let me read this particular piece to you. But records show that in July, some 4 months after requesting to register it meaning ARO, there were a number of irregularities which needed to be corrected. The United States Patent and Trademark Office has notified the Sussex's lawyers of various issues, including incorrect classification of yoga blankets, picnic baskets, and recipe books. And the agency said that fees are due to various bodies around the world to register the trademark, totaling $11,382, which is nearly £9,000, okay? And now, here comes the part which flashed all kinds of red lights to me. It is believed that Netflix, which has just finished filming a cookery show with the Duchess, is taking over the commercial exploitation of the brand, so it would be safe to assume it will pay the fees. A spokesman for the streaming giant declined to comment on their deal with her, meaning Meghan. Now, folks, none of this makes any sense. Nothing, nada, and zilch. What does it even mean? Does it mean that Netflix will be peddling dog biscuits, wine, and yoga mats soon with Meghan Markle the only face of the brand? Or will she still be in control and Netflix will exclusively provide all advertising, media appearances, and American Riviera Orchard product placement in the series, games, and films, with a portion of the annual net profits going to Netflix as payment? I don't know. The latter sounds more probable, more likely. But why then would they pay the fees? Although the second option does make more sense in terms of Netflix and their business, it does not sound like that is indeed what is in the pipeline or being planned. So, what the F is going on? I am on Netflix's investor profile looking at their stock info and their environmental, social, and governance, and nothing indicates that there is any intention to diversify into physical product like dog food and yoga mats. Remember, we are not talking about promotional material or MAGA hats here. We are talking about, for all practical purposes, an online shop selling from foodstuffs to clothing and books. At the moment, Netflix's company profile reads, Netflix is one of the world's leading entertainment services with 278 million paid memberships in over 190 countries, enjoying TV series, films and games across a wide variety of genres and languages. Blah, blah, blah. No mention of products or promotional products. So what exactly are they planning? Are they planning to rival Amazon on all levels? Well, that does not make sense either, because whether you are in Amazon's online store or Amazon's streaming service, you are still dealing with Amazon and not Amazon and American shoreline plantation. Guys, I have looked at it from all directions and most possibilities. I looked into Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters, co-CEOs of Netflix, and Reed Hastings, founder and executive chairman of Netflix. And so far, I found very little but a few red flags. And guys, you don't need to believe me, really you don't, but something is off. Something is not quite right. And I think my dream about Diana is my subconscious telling me that something is hidden, that something is going to be revealed, and that it would be a major drama or a major scandal, as big as it would be if Diana was to walk into a formal event today or tomorrow. Okay, so let's take a deep breath and let's continue. A while ago, actually less than a week ago, a subscriber and I had this discussion via email. Harry and Meghan's finances do not work out either. We have a basic idea of their income from various income streams: Spotify, Netflix, Penguin, Random House, blah, blah, blah. And remember, Harry also likely still gets something from Buttercup. But looking at their lifestyle and expenses, it is just not enough. Harry and Meghan needs a steady, constant inflow of revenue and not the sporadic amounts they get for their so-called projects. And I use that term loosely. Their security alone, I'm told, amounts to nearly $10 million per year. Add that to Archwell and household staff, private jets, Meghan's expensive beige wardrobe, utilities, and the maintenance of a mansion, and you, like me, will soon see that 10 or 20 million does not go a long way in their lives. So, my friends, where is their money coming from? I'm talking about their steady cash flow, not the odd cash injection from their projects. Where is their money coming from? Okay, now, there's no rhyme or reason why Netflix would get involved with American Riviera Orchard unless it is just a channel or vessel to get money to Harry and Meghan. And why did Ted Sarandos' name turn up in an honours list released by Rishi Sunak in March this year and personally approved by King Charles to receive an OBE for his services to the creative industry? Come on, I dare you to answer me that. Sarandos is not the founder of Netflix. Sarandos is not British. What he is a supporter of Meghan and Harry, and I mean a supporter through thick and thin, because it is commonly known that had Harry and Meghan pulled the stunts they had while under contract to any other film production or streaming company, they would have been kicked to the curb and sued a long, long time ago. Also note, Ted Sarandos is married to Nicole Avant, a former United States ambassador to the Bahamas. Who is the current head of state of the Bahamas? King Charles III. Guys, there is a reason why Netflix is sticking to Harry and Meghan through all the ups and downs, and it is not because the two of them are a good investment. And guys, here is the bombshell. As I was looking for pictures to put in this video, I looked for one of Reed Hastings, and to my surprise and shock, I realized he was the grey-haired man in my dream. Now, guys, this is way too much. It is doing my head in, and I need to take a break. Please, folks, stay safe and take care of yourselves until we meet back on the next one. Bye.